Hello and welcome. You're watching UATV News with me, Ksenia Bugay. Let's start with the latest developments. The European Union Council imposed sanctions against 8 more Russian nationals in response to actions undermining the territorial integrity of Ukraine. The list of personalities includes law enforcement officials, judges, prosecutors, and security officers responsible for enforcing Russian law in the illegally occupied Crimea and Sevastopol. Their names will be published in the official EU journal. Now, the full list of sanctions enlists 185 people and 48 entities. Restrictions cover a travel ban and the freeze of assets.
The European Union does not recognize the illegal annexation of Crimea and of the city of Sevastopol by the Russian Federation and continues to condemn the Russian violation of international law. Moreover, the EU remains unwavering in its support for the territorial integrity, sovereignty and independence of Ukraine from the official website of the Council of the EU.
Today, the Hague Tribunal began hearing the case of Russia's illegal detention of 3 Ukrainian naval ships and 24 crew members when they passed through the Kerch Strait in November 2018. The debate started with introductory remarks by the representatives of the parties. Russia presented its position today. Ukrainian delegation will do it tomorrow. The second round of debates will take place between October 14th and 15th. In May 2019, the International Tribunal for the Law of the Sea ordered the Russian Federation to immediately release the military personnel as well as return the ships. On September 7th, the prisoners swap in 35-for-35 format took place between Ukraine and Russia. In particular, 24 Ukrainian sailors were released.
Russia exercised its right to file jurisdictional objections, to which Ukraine has responded and which will now be addressed at the oral hearings. Ukraine is confident that the tribunal will find that it has jurisdiction over Ukraine's claims and that Russia will ultimately be held accountable for its serious violations of the law of the sea, from the official website of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine.
Precision weapons, ammunition, radar and medical equipment worth $60 million. The first batch of additional aid from the USA for the armed forces of Ukraine arrived at the Boryspil airport. According to the Ministry of Defense, these supplies were agreed upon during the visit of President Volodymyr Zelensky to Washington. Over the past 7 years, Ukraine has received more than $2 billion in assistance from the United States.
Based on the results of the agreements reached during the recent visit of the President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, to the United States of America, additional international technical assistance is being delivered to Ukraine for the armed forces of Ukraine. It is planned in several stages. The first stage has already been completed today. The assistance is already in Ukraine. In addition, within 2 weeks, scheduled cargo will arrive medical equipment. These are 5 mobile hospitals, medical equipment for advanced surgical teams, field X-ray systems, as well as bags for combat medics.
The U.S. Embassy in Ukraine welcomed the delivery of over 86,000 kilograms of military and medical equipment to our country. A message about this was published on the embassy's Facebook page.
This donation aims to address Russia's heightened military presence in Crimea and along Ukraine's border and comes in addition to the more than $2.5 billion in security assistance that US has given to support Ukraine's forces since 2014. We remain committed to helping Ukraine counter Russia's aggression and bringing an end to the conflict in the East, from the Facebook page of the US Embassy in Ukraine.
Be closer to a common economic space with the European Union and full access to European markets. Such tasks should be set by Ukraine. This was stated by Olga Stefanishyna, Vice Prime Minister for European and Euro-Atlantic integration, on the eve of the Ukraine-EU summit, which will be held on October 12th in Kyiv. According to experts, its results will answer the question whether Kyiv is ready for a large-scale renewal of the association agreement with the European Union. Our correspondents found out what to expect from this event.
At the 23rd Ukraine-EU summit, President Volodymyr Zelensky will meet with representatives of Brussels, head of the European Council, Charles Michel, and the head of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen. One of the main achievements of the negotiations is known in advance. The parties will sign an agreement on a common aviation area. This was stated by Olha Stefanishyna, Vice Prime Minister for European and Euro-Atlantic integration of Ukraine, in an interview with Radio Liberty.
Збільшиться кількість компаній.
The number of companies will increase. We will be one market with the European Union. All companies operating on the EU market will be able to walk in peace on the Ukrainian market. This means competition, lower prices, more flights. In fact, over the past 2 years, we have opened many airports in different cities of Ukraine. In fact, there will be many flights even from other cities of Ukraine, not only from Kyiv. Of course, it will give us even more opportunities to use visa-free travel. We won't be limited by any borders.
According to the experts, the launch of a free trade zone over the years has made Europe Ukraine's main trading partner. Therefore, in addition to the air visa-free with the European Union following the summit, progress is also expected in the negotiations on the so-called industrial visa-free. Realistically, we will have more access to European markets. Recent years have shown that Ukraine is able to provide a lot of products, primarily agricultural. This is what the European Union may be interested in, and this is what the quotas can be increased in. That is gradually thanks to the fact that the association agreement is already in operation. Ukraine is finding its niche in the European economy. Risks from the launch of Nord Stream 2 and the gas war that Russia declared to Europe are the issues which will also be discussed at the upcoming summit in Kyiv.
Фактично Росія розкрутила енергетичну кризу в Європі зараз.
In fact, Russia has unleashed the energy crisis in Europe now, due to the fact that they took all the gas that was in their European storages, sold it on the spot, and then did not increase gas supplies and actually provoked a crisis. It seems to me that the Europeans have clearly realized this, and now they will make the Russians to provide gas flows through Ukraine. During the summit, President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelensky will raise the issue of Ukraine's accession to the European Union. According to political scientists, the experience of the Baltic countries confirms that Ukraine has a real chance to become a full member of the EU. Reported by Nick Starkov, Yulia Bardash, UATV News.
The State Property Fund of Ukraine offers cheap rental in Chernobyl to revive the exclusion zone. 35 buildings in Chernobyl were included in the list of objects for rent. Our correspondents also visited locations where tenants will soon appear. Rent a building, the starting price of which at the auction is almost for free. Business owners have such an opportunity thanks to the system of transferring state property objects to commercial lease, including 35 locations in the exclusion zone. Among them are residential infrastructure objects, for example, houses and dormitories, industrial locations, and even areas that are suitable for installing solar panels. All of them are located within a 30 kilometers radius of the infamous Chernobyl nuclear power plant. After the release of the mini-series Chernobyl on the American TV channel HBO in 2019, the number of people willing to visit the exclusion zone significantly increased. To make it not only interesting for tourists from all over the world, but also comfortable here, the state allows tenants to change the purpose of vacant premises.
Among the objects that are now vacant for rent are administrative buildings, industrial buildings, but all of them can be transformed by the business the way it considers it necessary. It can be objects of the service sector and tourist infrastructure and even green energy facilities, because industrial sites that are located next to the nuclear power plants allow placing solar panels.
A feature of renting premises in the exclusion zone is its low cost. For example, they started bargaining for a 2-story 16-apartment building from 1 kopeck. And this object has already been leased. Olena from the Rivne region, a former teacher, runs a small shop here for rent of premises with an area of 60 square meters. Monthly fees about $12.
Фрукты, овощи.
Fruits, vegetables, meat products. For tourists, we have sweets, chips. Tourists are very surprised when they see our shop. They think there is one loaf of bread here. Among the risks that await business in the exclusion zone are a stable flow of tourists as well as a specific schedule for employees. It is impossible to stay here for more than 2 weeks in a row, but officials say there are advantages.
Низька конкуренція.
Low competition, low starting prices, high development potential of the Chernobyl revival zone. As we are now talking about the exclusion zone, all this allows businesses to come here today, invest money and develop this territory.
All premises available to tenants are located on the website orenda.gov.ua. The user can open a list or map of objects and using the filter select the appropriate one. Then take part in the auction at the prozoro.prodaž. The winner gets the opportunity to lead the asset for 5 years, after which he becomes the priority tenant if he wants to continue using the building.
Таким образом, каждый желающий...
Thus, today everyone can rent a room for the development of their own business near Chernobyl and contribute in transforming the exclusion zone into a revival zone, reported by Valeria Nikipelova, UATV News. First aid instructor, participant of the Warrior Games veteran competition, home pastry chef and businesswoman, all of them became participants in the important social photo project about women with disabilities. The goal of the project is to change the attitude of Ukrainians towards people with special needs. Details next.
Almost 2 hours for professional makeup and stylish hairstyles. After working with the makeup artists, the participants of the important photo project are going to the Mezhigirya National Park for a photo session. One of the models, Yulia Resenchuk, had an accident in 2006. After a spinal injury, she has to move in a wheelchair. Now she is a successful businesswoman, creates projects for people with disabilities and participates in photo shoots.
It is so great and pleasant when you're making makeup, when you're beautiful, when you're being filmed. This is such a therapy, one might say so.
Paramedic and anti-terrorist operation veteran Olesa, with the call sign Karamelka, Caramel, is the first aid instructor. She felt like a real movie star.
When you put on makeup, you feel completely differently. You feel like a woman, so even strong.
Another of the heroines is Yaroslava Mazur, a retired soldier, member of the national team of Ukraine at the international veteran competition, the Warrior Games in the USA.
I really want veteran sports veterans to have the opportunity. You know, people with disabilities do not have the opportunity to go in for sports in the regions. They have limited options. They can't get there.
The important social photo project has existed for 3 years. Its mission is to support women who inspire others with their life stories.
Каждый проект у нас посвящен какому-то определенному человеку.
Each project is dedicated to a specific person. This time we're collecting money for a robot for Sofia so that she can move normally.
Little Sofia has a severe form of cerebral palsy. In order for the girl to be able to move, she needs a robotic walker. Some of the funds have already been raised.
Вони коштують біля $40,000.
They cost about $40,000 and we have to collect $9,300. This robot will help Sofia walk, exercise and generally be active in an upright position. It is specifically designed for children with cerebral palsy.
The photos will be posted on social networks with the stories of each model. Thus, the organizers hope to help little Sofia and remind Ukrainians of the importance of making our country barrier-free. Reported by Nick Starkov, Svetlana Sich for UATV News.
That was our final story for today. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned. More updates on our official website, YouTube, Facebook and Twitter pages.